Okay. Tosfos says, so we are going back about the concept of why the Gemara says, why the Gemara in Gemara Tanit, Zayin Amud Aleph, says that if a person doesn't learn Torah Lishma, right, he's going to be some Hamavet for him. So we know from the story of the Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yacham ben Zakkan, Rabbi Yossi Pazi, they call him later on Pazi. Pazi means there are two kinds of gold. One is regular gold, which is, I think is 21 carat. I'm not sure the carat, I'm not good in this.
The regular one is 12.
12?
The better ones are more.
Yeah, so the regular one is 12. The pause is the much higher quality of carat. You know, it's 24 carat, whatever, I'm not sure. So that's pause. So he says, since he got those kind of quality of cups, and eventually he gave it back. So in Gemara, they had a kinui for him. They had a title for him called Rabbi Yossi Pazi, and he has children from him, sons. Also, they call it Pazi. They were his sons. That name stayed for him, the Pazi. But they became big Talmidei Chachamim. They say Gemara says any Talmidei Chacham that you see they mention in the Gemara, they were able to do Bechaz HaMetim. They were very high stature Talmidei Chachamim. So he got to that point. He became such a high level, and they call him Pazi. So we see that there's such a concept. So the Tosafot says that if a person wants to do, he's not doing lishma because he wants to become rabbi, or he wants to make money out of it, it's fine. Eventually, even though it's not a lishma, it's not a pure intention, eventually it's going to come to the pure intention. But he says there's one thing, there's one other attitude the person could have, that this is the Sama Movet. He said, what is it? It's called lekanter. Lekanter means a person wants to learn Torah, so then when he goes and try to talk to other people, right? He's not looking for the truth. He basically wants to challenge the other person just for the sake of it, without enough backing from Torah. He just wants to fight. He wants to challenge. We call it lekanter. You tell him this is the halakha. I think this is the halakha because he said this is the real thing. He said no. I said the other way. He just wants to challenge the person's opinion. That's called lekanter. And lekanter, right? If a person learns Torah that way, that Torah he learned is samagobet. That's the problem. And a person should know when he wants to learn Torah. Even if it's not pure intention, he should know that he should be flexible to know. That's why we've been talking about right now, one of the things that we have right now, the big issue we have in the communities, Jewish communities, is about remembering Pele Nochri, right? Weeks. The reason that we're having this is because of this issue of the lekanter. If anybody sit down and really look deep into this whole thing, you would realize that the whole concept of a woman wearing a wig and considered senora is a ridiculous concept. How is it possible? Somebody wear a wig and she's bolet, right? And she says, I'm senora. I mean, but the reason there's such a concept in here is because of this thing that Gemara says. That's what it says. The person doesn't want to know your opinion. They don't want to. Whatever you tell him, look, this Rav said, this Kodoleh Rav said, this Kodoleh Hador said. There are so many Rabbanim are saying the same thing. Not just one person. There's a lot of bad consequences that's going to come out of it. All right. The reason that the people they stick to their own gun and they can continue is because this concept of lekanter. Lekanter means the person learns. I said, well, I have my opinion, but you have your opinion, that's fine. But you have to be flexible, you have to go by and see what the majority of Rabbanim are saying, Poskim are saying. They see if it makes sense. We have to look at the whole thing in order to come up with a conclusion. You just cannot come up and say, I have my own opinion, I will stick with my gun, and that's it. And that's the problem. And the Zohar, and the Gemara, the Tosfos says, that's what the Gemara is referring to. That it says, Kol ha'osek b'Torah, shelo lishma, Toratot naseh lo sam ha'moved. That's what it's referring to. Not that that what he's doing the cantor. So, Baal Shem Tov HaKodesh, right? He gave I read one of his commentaries about this Matovo Halecha Yaakov, when Baruch Hu put this pasuk in the mouth of Bilam HaRasha about Matovo Halecha Yaakov. He says, one Peshali is that the Klal Yisrael, they don't look at each other's houses, and that's why there's blessing, because they have the tents back like this, not front of each other, so nobody could look. It was opposite of each other, so they could not look through each other's tent, right? So that it says, because you don't look at each other's tent and you don't want to know what's going on with your life, right? Hashem gives a bracha, right? And the Baal Shem Tov says a deeper interpretation. It says it's talking about Talmidei Chachamim, Matov Yaakov, right? That when they want to discuss some kind of halachic topic, they are not facing each other, they try to challenge each other just for the sake of it. They are flexible. They are very flexible, and that's why there's a bracha in the Jewish nation. Because they are flexible, they're trying to find the truth, and when they say a thing, right, then the bracha comes among Jewish nation. That's what the Baal Shem Tov, and that's what, like, if the people that are, for instance, just regarding Parnochri, if the other Rabbanim that they recommend Parnochri know that the concept of they shouldn't do the canter, right? If they look deep in this whole subject, they will realize that this is impossible, that having somebody having Parnochri would be considered as a sinot.
So Baal Shem Tov says the second?
The second interpretation of the Matov Halecha Yaakov is regarding Talmidei Chachamim. That when they discuss the Torah subject, they don't stick to their own gun. They are flexible. They are not facing each other like a tent, that they are not facing each other. They are like back to back like this, and you cannot see it. Right there, they are not opposing each other constantly. They are trying to find out what's the correct halacha, for the correct conclusion from some halachic topic or some Torah, on the single some Torah. And that's the third, because of that it will be Matovo Halecha Yaakov. How great is your Halecha Yaakov, and from there, if the person does that, they will be able to be a blessing come from it. So saying all that realizing that we have to learn Torah. What Baruch Hu says the Torah is a keli chemda. Knowing that how important to learn Torah, how much a person could gain, especially if you learn Lishma. Even on Lishma, if he does it for a kavod, or wants to gain kavod, or gain monetary, is fine. Later on, it's going to come to that point. It's fine, as long as you don't do the canter. Then, if you don't do the canter, you're going to be able to, the person could get there, and Baruch Hu was prepared to do Teshuva, and even though we said Elisha, they call him his kinu, his title changed from Ben Abuya, they call it the Gemara Acher. Still, the message for him was very clear. Elisha, you've done a lot of harm to the Jewish nation, and still Hashem is going to accept you. What? If you change your path, not the canter, come, but I'm not going to help you out. But you have a chance to do Teshuva. I accept you. What? Hashem loves prepare. Hashem loves prepare. That's what we said from Rabbi Akiva. Just said it. Rabbi Akiva says Baruch Hu loves the Jewish people and loves the mankind, and that's why we see the population, 7 billion people population in the world, and Hashem feeds them on a daily basis. He feeds them. If he wanted to, he could stop feeding them. And Baruch Hashem, there are people are fed throughout the whole geographic of the world. Wherever they are getting fed. And who is feeding them? It's how much Baruch Hu. So that shows how much he He loves the mankind. Okay? So now regarding Teshuvah, Pele says, and we said here, Pele says all the Gemara, all the Sifrei Musar, they point you one direction, point the person one direction for regarding Teshuvah. What is this? Go learn Torah. Go learn Torah. You learn Torah, right? Which we said with this specific formula we just mentioned. You're gonna do Teshuvah. Then go. You want to do Teshuvah? Go learn Torah. You're gonna change. There's no question about it. You have financial difficulty. You have different problems in your life. You go learn Torah and pray to Allah Baruch Hu, right? Things are gonna happen. Now, one thing that helps a lot for Teshuvah, right, is even though a person is sincere, there are certain things will hold back. When a person wants to do Teshuvah, there is some kind of Samech Ben doesn't want the person to do Teshuvah. He being a stumbling block that the person won't be able to do Teshuvah. So Chazal say, how do you do Teshuvah? It's a Qol so Mamon. That's a Gemara Tanit. Which means Qol means a person should pray to Allah Baruch Hu. So everyone should know, please forgive me. I've been not in the right path. I want to go back to you. Accept my Teshuvah. Then Som is Tanit, fasting, right? Which is we're going to talk about it, that when the person should fast, when he shouldn't fast. And then Mamon is Sedaka. And I brought this book by Talmud Yahu. It's fascinating. It brings out the concept why the Sedaka helps a person so much when he's doing Teshuvah, right? Because Sedaka, so the concept of Sedaka Tasil Mimavet. When a person gives Sedaka, it saves a person from true death. The person is done certain avonot, and there is like a prosecuting angel, which is Samech Ben, right? He tries to what? He tries to stop the person doing Teshuvah. And this Sedaka the person gives, right? It causes him to become to do Teshuvah. Okay? So here some of the memory of the that Talmud Yahu says, right? So one of the memory that he says, לפני מה זכו לעולם הזה ולמשיח, he says, בדוד הבא, בזה שנהגו עצמם בסדקה. He says, אבותינו הראשונים, how were they able to get the זכות to go through the whole עולם הזה and get to the עולם הבא, right? Gain the entrance, the permission to enter to the עולם הבא. The Yoga says tzedakah, right? Mifnei shenahagu asmam b'tzedakah. That means even though a person learns Torah, right, and does all these things, this tzedakah is very important because it's a combination of it goes along with it. The person has to give, even if they have money, there are different kinds of tzedakah, but main thing is give money, but if they doesn't have money, just doing chesed also in this concept is be considered tzedakah, right? And one concept of the reason why tzedakah is purify the person and stops from a person to be tormented because the avonot is done is because when a person does the teshuvah, they say, okay, you want to do teshuvah, it's fine, but you have to clean your neshama in this olam hazeh, and how you do it, you have to go through this yisurim. Now, when somebody does give tzedakah, right, he purifies his neshama by giving tzedakah. But you might ask, what I'm buying is like a bribe? No, it's not a bribe. But the way it works Like, am I bribing Hakadosh Baruch Hu by giving tzedakah, and by that way he forgives my avonot? No, it's more than that. It's much more than that. When a person gives tzedakah, first of all, you give tzedakah to the right causes, you give them life. Like if you give them food, or supporting the kolelim or the shivot, right? You give them mamash life, because they have money, so they can learn Torah. So you give them some kind of life. So in that way, actually gives you more life. The other concept is that there are many people, which is normal. Many people, money is very dear to them. It's very dear for them, and many people, they have this mentality, right? That they give money. They want to give they rather not even jeopardize their life, right? And not give money. It's for them to give a few dollars to tzedakah, right? It's extremely painful for them. So it's as if they're giving their life away. And this is normal. This is normal. So which is nothing wrong about that. This is many people like that. So by the fact that a person gives this tzedakah money, right? He's like as if he's giving his life away, right? By doing that, he's purifying his avonot, because he feels pain, and that pain that he feels by giving it takes over of is like a substitute, replaces the fact of you should have yisurim, like bamina, like sicknesses or other things. By giving this money, right? You person, because most of people are like this. For them, the money they earn is very dear to them. They don't want to give it to anybody. They want to keep it. It's part of become the soul. And by giving it to tzedakah, you're taking something away from them, and that's why this tzedakah is so important.
Like a korban.
It's like a korban. You're giving your life away, right? And you're basically you're tormenting yourself. It's like a very big torment, right? So Hakadosh Baruch Hu, for the Yisurim, what's the concept of the Teshuva? When a person does Teshuva, Hashem wants to take this blemishes away. When a person gives tzedakah, somehow it's going to help that. And that's why it's so important to give tzedakah, especially if a person finds right causes. When you give to right causes, this helps a lot. Okay? And here he says, Abraham, Yitzhak, here Pele says, Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, David, Shlomo, the nor nishtabechu ela b'tzedakah. The main praise that Hakadosh Baruch Hu had for all of our avot, right? The main praise was they give tzedakah. The other thing, because when you do tzedakah, you have ayin tova. You want to have a good eye for people. You want other people to get prosperous. You save people's life. You give life to people, the person, and that's why this part of tzedakah is so important, right?
Avodah Chodeshim, what they did?
They gave the main praise that Hashem gave to them was that they gave tzedakah. Tzedakah. That's why the Gemara says tzedakah tatzil mabed. But Talmud, he has like a whole chapter. I'm just saying that talks about the importance of giving tzedakah, and I thought it's appropriate because we are in the fasting tomorrow, right? And we just give this tzedakah money helps a lot. And one other thing, just since you're Aseret Tevet, we know the Aseret Tevet. What was the whole concept of Aseret Tevet? The Nebuchadnezzar, right? In this day, he besieged the Yerushalayim. This was this day. So usually, the Chachamim say what was the reason that the Klal Yisrael, the Chol Ben Gishon. He said because of the Shefechat Damim, Arayot, and Shefechat Damim, Arayot, and Avodah Zarah. These three things. So today, especially, we should, like for Aseret Tevet, our focus should be on this, that that we should do Teshuva, any kind of it, and also the second Beit HaMikdash was because of the Lashon Hara, so we should also, on Sinas Chinam, so we should all focus on this, and B'ezras Hashem, as the Chazal say, in time of Mashiach, all these days are going to become Yom Tovim for us. So B'ezras Hashem, if we have this in mindset, and then go with that mindset through this fast, and also think that B'ezras Hashem, and give some tzedakah, that which would be the Yesurim that we are supposed to receive for not doing this, transgressing this thing, B'ezras Hashem Yitbarach, with this pure intention. We're going to be able to what? We're going to be able to be forgiven by Rosh Baruch, our neshama is going to be completely pure. So this is what it has a lot in here, but tzedakah tasir mimavet. Tzedakah is the most important part of it. I'm going to read a few of the things that it says here, which is good to know. It says, it says, מניין אתה אומר שכל מי שסיפק בידו לעסוק צדקה בידו מראיים גורם ביתו לעצמו. So it says but Rabbi says if somebody has the opportunity to save somebody's life by giving tzedakah and doesn't do it, right? And doesn't do tzedakah and he has the opportunity to do it, right? He chas v'shalom, he caused for himself debt. So, and he says from the Naval. Naval, you know the story of Naval, that David HaMelech and his 600 people were helping and guarding Naval, which was one of the people, Abigail's husband, which was a very wealthy person, and he was protecting his whole herd from being attacked by the thieves or by wolves or beasts. And then they asked to send somebody, David HaMelech sent Shaliach to get some food from them, and he refused. He didn't give it, he started cursing David HaMelech. And then, since he didn't do it, even though his wife went and gave, the scripture says that what? He got a bar minan, he got a heart attack and he died in 10 days. He got a heart attack in Rosh Hashanah, and he died in I think it's Yom Kippur, right? And he said from here, it shows that if somebody has the opportunity to give tzedakah and doesn't give tzedakah, right? He Hashem brings death to himself, and the Talmud proves it from this story of the Naval and David HaMelech, right? Then it goes around the opposite side, 180 degree opposite side. U'minayim shehad adam ma'arechet yamin. How do we know? How do we know if somebody gives tzedakah, right? People are looking for longevity, right? So he says, how do you know the tzedakah, right? How do you know the tzedakah being longevity? He says, ki hu chayecha v'orech yamecha, right? He says, this is your life, and this is the way of a person to do it, to give tzedakah. V'omer, es chaim hi lemachzikim ba. And this is es chaim. Es chaim is what? The person, when es chaim is Torah, and it's from es chaim is a place that a person could derive arichut yamim. So when somebody gives tzedakah, he has access to es chaim, right? And from es chaim he gets arichut yamim, and so that's how he and the pasuk says again. So he says, "V'o shehadech al chomehi, u'man yasaveh ha'rosh b'rosh b'torah leman yitavlah v'arachto yamim, k'avo chomo shu mitzvah chamoyo shu torah achat k'avo k'amo." So, and he gives another k'avo chomer. K'avo chomer means if this is the case, for sure, it would be apparent if in such a case it is applicable, for sure it is applicable.
How much more so?
How much more so? So he said, Rosh Baruch Hu says, Yon Shelach Haken. which is one of the most simplest mitzvot in the Torah. In there it says, if somebody do a shirah hakim, which means, what's a shirah hakim? You go in the field and you see all of a sudden a bird, and because of this bird, you send him away.
Like 2 minutes.
Okay. So you send the bird away and leave the mother, shoot the mother away and take the bird or the eggs. Just this simple mitzvah. Pasuk says, "Le'ma'an yitamlach v'aracha yomim." Hashem is going to do good for you and give you longevity. If that's the mitzvah, that is very simple. Talmud says, a person, he is going to have a long life. The scripture says, the Torah says, so much so, a person gives tzedakah, which is something very difficult. Tzedakah, as we mentioned, is for some people, it's very painful to put their hands in the wallet, even give $1 or so, let alone give much higher than that, or save somebody's person's life, right? So that's how important it is to give what tzedakah, and the consequence of giving tzedakah, as Talmud always says, it brings eichud yamim. And then he says there is another side benefit of giving tzedakah, right? So this is what we're talking about, different side benefit of having tzedakah. How do we know that tzedakah brings a person to Chai Olam Haba? It says, Ashrei ha'ish asher lo halach b'asad resha'im. The Tehillim says, one of the first pasuk that the Tehillim says, fortunate the person that does not go with the asad resha'im, but no matter asher shofet mishpat. Fortunate the person that is shomer mishpat, or says tzedakah b'chol et. And the opposite of it is fortunate person that does mishpat and he does tzedakah b'chol et, that he does tzedakah all the time, and that's what it is. Okay.